the millennials and their effect on business today. So I have an open seat, and it's ready to go whenever anybody feels like jumping in. And welcome to my partner in crime, Craig, and he'll be joining us shortly. Hello? Okay. You need to adjust. I can't hear you, which is exactly what happened to me at my first Blab as well. It took me a while to get things rolling so that everybody could hear me. So today's topic at B2B RandD is millennials. We talk a lot about marketing and the different aspects of marketing. So millennials specifically have a very specific way in which they have built their lifestyle around technology and mobile. And a lot of what we've found is they are open to having just about everything they talk about be public. So privacy, less of an issue for the group that is considered millennials, which officially are those people born from early 80s to the early 2000s. So they're becoming adults and they've got some buying power. And as such, they are going to be very influential on how businesses run, how they market, how they hire, and the culture of a business in general. So keep going there, Craig. It's an interesting platform here, Blab, but I'm sure you'll get it. And if not, then this recording won't go too much further than it is right now. But in any case, what we have found over the past few months of researching all things marketing, digital marketing and such, video is very good way to reach out to millennials. They're spending a lot of time online and a lot of time on their mobile devices online. So all the new changes that you're seeing happening at the different social media platforms that are starting to cater more to video, especially things like YouTube being able to really show video that's vertical versus horizontal, because as you know, a lot of people are using their mobile devices vertically to do their recordings. So that is one step to reaching out to those millennials who are looking to get more of their information that way. So join in, anybody. Kirsten, if you want to jump on the seat and add to the conversation as Craig continues to work on his audio. Yeah, no, we can't hear you, but keep it going. You can do it. I know you can. Other than that, we've also gotten some information through our research. The way in which employers are working with millennials is something that needs to be revisited as well. All right, Kirsten, welcome. Interested to hear your take on these things as well. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, okay, so we can hear Kirsten.
Yeah, I'm using my iPhone, so I'm not trying to use my computer.
Perfect.
I don't know if that makes a difference. This is the first time I've jumped on a Blab or tried a Blab, so.
Oh, awesome. I'm thrilled that you chose us.
Yeah, it's a great conversation. My business is in the salon and spa industry. And so this is a topic that I'm a business coach for the salon and spa industry. And so this is a topic that seems to be coming up a lot with spa owners and trying to hire and their whole employment situation is a lot of these owners they're Gen X's, and they have lived and worked with a very different set of personal values and professional values. And they just don't seem to be able to understand or how to connect with this new generation of employees. And they get frustrated. So then they get angry, and then seems like there's a lot of blaming, which is never productive. So I think there's a lot of value in just talking about, the habits of millennials and what they are comfortable with, and how they react, and how they communicate, and how, what they like. Because I think once that communication can start happening, or that understanding, then I think their employee-employer relationships will be a lot easier.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's definitely a big difference. And I'm getting a little bit of feedback from, there we go. I don't know what you just did, but it solved it. There's a big difference between those two generations, and it really stems back to the way we were raised and the way we entered the workforce. What constitutes a good resume, what constitutes a great interview. But what's key with millennials is their connectivity, and you use that word specifically, how to connect with them. They're very connected, but they're connected in different ways than previous generations are connected.
Absolutely.
And and it's all about staying in touch with people that they're not necessarily standing next to, right? So I can imagine in a salon that would be busy and really geared toward that personal relationship right at the moment, and you've probably got a millennial on a mobile device doing something, and it's almost part of their DNA. It's really a lifestyle for them. It's not really, I'm trying to be rude. I've had my phone, in my pocket for the last 10 years. I don't know how to live any other way. So there needs to be that sort of balance, as far as being able to do their job well and still be able to stay in touch and communicate with everyone else, because they feel very disconnected if in fact they are disconnected.
And, and I think one of the other things that comes into play too with millennials is that employers, like, of my generation, the Gen X, is that, we kind of came into the workforce with this pyramid of hierarchy in a business. And, as a boss, you have, you're used to developing your ideas and executing them without any kind of collaboration. And the millennials don't really think that way. And when they're not feeling included, and when they're not feeling included in their communication or whatever, then that puts them on the defense. Then they feel like, well, how is this relationship? How can this relationship as an employee-employer grow and develop? And how can I feel like I'm valuable if you don't care what I think or I say, or, if those things don't matter? And so when I'm working with spa owners, I'm trying to tell them that, ask your staff, for input, and with the caveat of, I'm going to take it as input. I'm going to still make my own decision, but your feedback is really important to me. I don't think most spa owners are used to that idea. They don't really like it. They feel like they're going to lose control. But when in fact, by letting go a little control and allowing that collaboration, starts that trust and the bonding of that particular relationship.
I agree.
Yeah. Anyways, I've got to run. I'm coming in a few minutes, so I just thought I'd pop on and say hi. And I liked the topic of conversation, so I'll follow along with you later.
Great. Just before you leave, consider that the spa owners don't want to lose control, but at the same time, millennials don't like to be told what to do.
Yeah. There's a bit of a bumping into heads with that one.
Yep. So collaboration is definitely going to be the key.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Get out of here, actually.
Just click the X above on your picture.
Oh,
I'm not on the.
It's on my picture, and I could click leave.
Okay, there you go.
Thanks. See you later.
Okay. Yeah, you're going to have to fix that. You can't. I don't know. Plug in another use a different headset, or I'm not sure. You might have had, are you using Chrome? So I think somewhere along the line, there may have been an add-on or a plugin for Chrome that you might need. Why don't you Google it? As we go along here. And let's see, is it? No, it's just you and me. So I'm not going to, we have someone new. Great. Let's see who joined us. Hey, Lynn, welcome. This is our first, did we lose Lynn? Maybe. And we're waiting for Craig.
What about now?
Now I can hear you.
I'm in Firefox.
Ah, all right. So it is something regarding.
Are you in Chrome or no?
I am in Chrome, but I must have done what was needed because I've been on Blab for probably, what, a couple days. So I probably did whatever it asked me to do.
Yeah, no, I thought I had it covered, but I will try and have to take a look because that was a great conversation you had over there with Kristen. That was really great.
Yeah. So this is being recorded. I actually, I don't know what happens if it goes into like a Blab archive or something like that.
I think it does. I had looked at a couple of older ones. And if you click on them, you can watch them. So
great. So this is very entertaining. It's a first Blab. I actually tagged it as first Blab, which may or may not entice people to come on board. But we'll give you a couple. Yay! Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Millennials. So she had a great point. The fact that from an employer standpoint, you're going to have generations. But
you actually, and her point was interesting on a couple levels to me with some background in that industry.
Right.
Hairdressers and employees, they tend to butt heads over quite a few things. And so this just adds to, I think, that level. And she's right, employers, the owners of the salons, they're afraid to ask. They're afraid to feel like they're losing control, exactly like Kristen said. And she didn't say this, but what they don't realize is they don't have control. The control is just a myth nowadays. We don't control our brand. Our brand is what everybody else says it is. So if the salon owner is not giving the employees the respect that they think they deserve or the tools they need, believe me, they're controlling the conversation.
Very true. Now, do you think that's specific to the salon industry?
No.
It's any forward facing. If I'm the person that you get to talk to, whether it's the person doing the service, such as the hairdresser or the are they called hairdressers?
Stylist.
Stylist. There you go, stylist. Whether I'm the millennial who's the professional stylist, or I'm the millennial who's the receptionist. I'm still the face of the business. And if my boss is in a back room somewhere, you're right. They can think that they're in control and they're dictating the way things need to be done. But when they're not present, people really are taking their time and doing it their way.
But here's the other side of that. I think when you give, and again, any forward-facing business, the employees should have that freedom to do what's in the business's best interest.
Right. But how do they know if it's not a two-way
That's
street?
right, because the employer needs to let them know that they have that freedom. The employee needs to respectfully exercise it if they have to.
Even more than that, though, the employee could bring back information that the business owner doesn't know.
Absolutely. It is a two-way street, but I think a lot of times you get stuck with the employer-employee mentality. The employers, the business owners, it really does bother me when I talk to companies, employers, owners of businesses, and they tell you, well, you know, we block social networks from our computers. And we talked about this in the email this week. It's probably the worst thing you could do is block that millennial from being connected.
And you know, when you have an employer doing that, that's exactly why they're using their mobile devices. Right. Because they can get around that. And so they think they're getting around it. They are, you know, but they think they're being smart getting around it. So they've outsmarted the boss. But it's more than that. Right. It's the need to connect, and it's not to the detriment of the business.
That's just it. Business owners need to realize that that connection is a benefit and can be a benefit. And in fact, when they're not connected, they're probably less productive because they're going to the restroom more to use their phone. They're going outside. They all of a sudden have taken up smoking because they're outside every 15 minutes.
Right. It's bad for their health.
Right.
Too. Right. So what's the solution here? Do employers need to give, you know, social media time or more, you know, potential shorter breaks throughout the day to allow their employees to stay connected?
I think in my mind, the best solution is trust. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Employee, you have to do X, Y, and Z today. That's your job. And if X, Y, and Z is getting done and you're communicating with your audience about maybe what's going on, what our new offers are, our specials are during the day, that's helping the business. So you give them that trust until there's a reason not to.
But do you think that millennials are really utilizing social media and connecting in a way that's promoting the business or just on a personal level?
I think it could be both. And I think that depends on the business and the people.
Right. So a business that really embraces this generation and what they bring to the table then opens the opportunity for them to connect with their significant other and loved ones a few minutes here and there. But hey, if I'm on my Twitter account, maybe I'll say something nice about the business I work for.
And you could even make, you know, sort of make that a request. Look, we're allowing you the access to these things. If you feel honestly that you can do it, maybe you talk a little bit about the business. Instead of going the other way and saying, don't do anything, don't talk about us, don't mention us, if you're on your own. I've actually seen a social policy that didn't let people even indicate that not only that they worked at a location on social, but they couldn't say anything about the business, positive or negative. To me, I don't see how that's a benefit to any business.
And in the end, I'm not sure you can really control that anyway. Like Kirsten was saying, you know, control is a little bit of an illusion.
Totally.
You know, and that's nothing unique to these generations that we're talking about. I think that, you know, that becomes the old structure of a business. And I don't think it's exclusively the millennials, although they're benefiting from when the business has a more linear approach to it. And it is teamwork and it is collaboration. So when you have this kind of mentality, teamwork, collaboration, staying connected, you know, so we talked about them as employees, but what about if there are consumers? You know, how can we tap into that type of lifestyle,
right?
To be part of their day, as opposed to, you know, trying to, you know, bring them to our way of thinking.
I completely agree with you. This is not a new thing. I remember 10 years ago, before any of this, it was the telephone. You know, how much time did the secretary, the bookkeeper, the fellow employees spend on the phone to their family and friends? Do you limit that phone contact? This is the same thing. Millennials are not using their phones as phones.
Right.
It's just, you know, I like to tell businesses and people that if you're, you know, on social media and you ignore people, it's no different than not picking up the phone. So by cutting these people off, it's no different than telling them they can't be on the phone from, you know, our generation.
Right. So what about trying to, you know, bring them on board in a consumer standpoint? You know, how can we best market to them, taking this into consideration?
By not marketing to them.
Okay.
Yeah, millennials, the digital generation, they don't trust the companies, the ads that they're running. They trust their friends. So sort of marketing, we'll call it that hard advertising, that's not, I don't see it working as well as it will on us. What I think businesses need to do is sort of get the employees on board to talk about the company, to praise the company, and that gets other people to talk about it, and sort of building it the old-fashioned word-of-mouth way. I think that's the way we market to them.
Hey, Q to Brand, welcome. So we're chatting about millennials. We've got two sides of the coin in the conversation. One being the millennial as an employee, and how does the culture? Awesome, chime in. You know, how does a company culture cater to the lifestyle of a millennial, which may be different than that of the owner, but also from a standpoint of reaching out to this generation for them to become consumers. What's the best way to do that? And what Craig was just saying is, you know, potentially almost not to do that. It's not a direct connection. That the best way to influence the choice of someone in the millennial generation is to influence their friends first. So if you want to join us, awesome. And here she comes.
Excellent, because I would love to hear her opinion on this.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, I am still I'm in Friday mode, so there's no dressing up here.
Not a problem.
So I actually am a serial entrepreneur, very much a millennial, but I appeal to kind of both sides. I am a chef nutritionist, but I fell into restaurant and hospitality marketing. So I actually work with a lot of big brand hotels that are very much aware that they need to focus on millennials, you know, because that's the future of their business.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So in conjunction with what you're saying, it's more so not really about their friends, but it's like, what is in it for them? Millennials are all about the why, and, you know, why do I need to get out of bed? Why do I need to retweet about this? Why do I need to do this? We're the why generation. I mean, I grew up in a very much an Asian household where I got reprimanded for asking why so many times. And I do it even more now because it got me to where I'm at. Having my own marketing company, as well as, you know, just dealing with these bigger brands. After only 2 years into it, I started dealing with the bigger brands. And because they said she knows what she's talking about, so we should probably listen to her. So
yeah, I mean, you're living and breathing everything that you're you know, offering to them. So awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the why, so the marketing message has to have the why, not from the standpoint of the business why we do it, but the standpoint of why it matters to you.
Yeah, my favorite term, which I've kind of coined, is a me monster. Millennials are very much me monsters. They absolutely, it's like, it could benefit my friend, but again, it's like, what is it for me? You know, what is it going to do for me? And it's horrible, but it's like, if we embrace it, then we could just get on with our lives, move on. You know, we could just, work around it.
It's important to show value, but the flip side of that is, does that also have an air of entitlement from the millennials?
Yeah, but we can't get over that. Like, that's something that, good luck. Good luck. Absolutely. I mean, if you think about, since I work with a lot of restaurants, all I do is hear about restaurateurs and chefs complaining about their cooks being lazy, but really it's like, they're not lazy. Once you actually understand how they function and what makes them happy. So I've been known to lead a certain way. And what I do is, some see it as me becoming too much of a friend to these employees or to the people that I work with. But what it is that I actually empower them. I make them feel invested. If they feel invested, they work harder and smarter, and they give great ideas, some things that I may not be looking for. So that is something that they really, and so if they feel invested, they will promote, because they're like, come see me. There's that me again. Mm-hmm. It's like, I wanted to be clever and say there's a me in millennials, but there's not. There really should be.
How do you get them invested? How is it we get them invested?
I literally just get to know them. I literally just ask, like, what interests them, like what do they want to learn from me? What do they want to learn? I mean, I literally am a one-woman army. So I ask them, what can I teach you? Like, how can I help you grow? First embracing and understanding the fact that person's not going to work for you for 30 years is the first step, and understanding and helping them grow into something, later is what they really want. So if you can do that for them, I mean, they'll be your biggest fan and the company's biggest fan.
Awesome. So that really goes back to what you were saying earlier, Craig, which is, ask questions, get them involved. And, the owners of these businesses, regardless of their size or industry, they're not in control, because even if they think they are, then they're not getting the buy-in of the employees. And if they're willing to sit back and listen to the employees, then there's a level of loss of control. So it sounds like it's, the workplace culture really has moved from that hierarchy to more collaboration. And I think everyone can benefit from that.
We're kind of taking over. You guys.
There you go.
We should just get out of the way.
People at the top.
We'll just get out of the way. No problem.
Probably not a bad idea.
I feel like I've just bombarded this call, took over. See, it happens.
It's perfect. It's the right topic. But interesting, and that's not such a bad idea, because even in the element of marketing, which we were talking about also, it is once your brand is out there, you have lost control, and everyone is taking over what they're tweeting, what they're sharing, what they're commenting. So if long-standing businesses or even multi-generation businesses, to keep that going over the next, 10, 20 years, they really do have to adapt to what's going on in the marketplace. And that really is, more of a letting go and, letting the next generation take over and dictate. And if they can do that, then, they're along for the ride, basically.
Well, it's important also for, like you said, once it's out there, but then it's about how you manage that message, which is why I'll give you an example. I work with Marriott hotels, and I've been doing my longest running client is about 2.5 years. And when I got in there, I was like, we're going to be on this platform, and this platform, we're going to do this. I'm going to work 24/7 and you're going to like it. You're going to pay me for it at the same time, but it's going to be effective. And because of that, the brand as a whole has given us all these opportunities to pilot all these different programs. Because, and they were like, no, we're only going to be on Facebook and Twitter. And I'm like, no, we're going to be on Instagram and Google Plus, and we're going to be on Tumblr, and we're going to be on Pinterest. Right. And it wasn't until like 2 years in where they're like, okay, now we're going to be on Instagram. Well, we've been on it for a long time. Like fortunately, it's also about the management. The director of sales and marketing and the GM allow me to do what it is that I feel is best. They get out of my way because I haven't shown them that it's failed.
Right.
And right. Which that we're all right.
Totally goes back to what Craig was saying earlier, which is offer the trust until, they do something that negates that trust. And so obviously, they allowed you to run with your ideas, and then, they panned out to be successful because of that element of trust.
Not to make this glamorous, but we are know-it-alls that ask a lot of questions.
We're know-it-alls that ask a lot of questions. That's some irony for you, huh?
I like that, though. So it shows that, the old school business owners need to realize that
there's a new kid in town.
Yeah.
That there's a new kid in town. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you just were to stop trying to control and label a group with this title, yes, and you admit that, there's entitlement, it's all about the me. But it's really not all about the me. If you're asking lots of questions, it's not about the me. In my mind, if you want to know, it's about growing with a purpose, and that purpose is the business.
Well, it's me, but me in your business.
In the bigger picture.
Right.
How do I fit in that bigger picture?
The bartender. The bartender is like, yeah, I work here. But it's like, I work here. They need me. So come see me. Come grab a drink from me, and it indirectly sells the bar.
But that's not a new attitude. We had somebody on a bit ago who was involved in the hair care industry, and I was as well years ago, and that mentality is not new. The hairdressers, the stylists I worked with had that meant that you need me. So that's not a millennial attitude. That may just come down to a employer-employee kind of butting heads attitude. Maybe.
Well,
maybe it's just spread from specific industries to generation.
I mean, I'm really speaking to the hospitality industry, but I'm in a peer group, where it's a bunch of business owners. We have a business coach, and once a month, we meet for 4 hours and we discuss, what's ailing us and what do we have to deal with. And there's one guy who's just too nice. And he's afraid, like he is literally like, he has all these employees, but he ends up doing their work because he doesn't hold them accountable because he's become their friend. So they're like, well, man, I have my kids sick and whatnot. And, I've been accused of being too serious or too direct, but I mean, people also think I'm from the East Coast, which is fine. I love that.
Which we happen to be from, by the way.
I'm from LA. I'm from LA. I do not belong. But I think that there's a happy medium between, getting to know someone and feeling like, you're invested in them, but still having that like accountability. Accountability is huge.
Absolutely.
And I think that if you have all of those things, it's a recipe for success. No pun intended.
There you go. Yeah. So you have accountability, but you have flexibility.
Absolutely. You have to allow them to go to that concert. like in the past, the bonuses, the cash used to be what enticed us. Giving us the concert tickets, like while you get to know us and you find out that Ricky Martin is our favorite, artist. Not really. And then you get those Ricky Martin tickets for us and say, here, take the day off and go to this concert. That means more to us than giving us cash.
So it's about the experience, or is it about the getting?
I think it's about the relationship.
Okay.
Right? Understanding who they are.
Okay.
We just want to be heard. This is like a therapy session.
We want to be
We
heard.
just really want to be heard, and we want you to genuinely care. So it's like an acting thing. Pretend to care.
Pretend to care even if you don't. So you want to be heard. So if you're heard, but then the things you're saying don't wind up in the final process, is that okay?
What do you mean?
So say there's, the launch of a new product, how should we do that? Or we're going to redesign the restaurant, how should we do that? And so it's a collaborative effort with a lot of ideas, but the final idea doesn't reflect what you said. Are you still okay with the fact that we went to you, even if we didn't necessarily use your idea?
It's all in the delivery. That's my second favorite thing. So if you say, we asked you for your opinion, and then like just to check off a box, that's
right.
But if you make me feel like I gave and you really did consider my ideas, again with the acting, then it's fine.
Right. Hey, Derek, nice to have you join us.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Very well.
So we have apparently two generations here.
Yes.
I
was thinking that. I was thinking that. I'm feeling a little old right now.
So from Q the brand, we were getting some great insight into the mindset of the millennial and a little bit of the lifestyle of the millennial and the things that the sort of the me generation and the needing and wanting to be heard. From an employee-employer standpoint, Derek, I don't know your current situation, but do you feel that if you're employed, that your employer recognizes the best way to connect with you?
I'm not employed.
You're not employed. Okay.
No, I'm the employer.
All right.
Okay.
Another entrepreneur.
I know, they're falling from the trees. Well, they're everywhere.
Kind of breed, by the way.
Well, so here's a question. So entrepreneurs definitely are a different breed, but a millennial entrepreneur is a different breed?
Good luck.
A millennial entrepreneur that's not on the internet, that's hard to find.
What?
Everybody that I know that's 30 and under that want to start their own companies are searching on the internet to spread the word and make sales. And it's really hard to find people that are 30 and under that do brick and mortar stores. That's what I've found.
Okay.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, I have a brick and mortar mattress store.
Where are you located?
In Kansas.
And why do you feel that you can't do both? I'm sorry, it's the why. Sorry,
you saw us laugh. I mean, it was like, there she goes, just asking those questions. It's perfect.
This is great.
Why can't I do both as far as sell online and sell in my town?
Mm-hmm.
I do. I sell on Amazon and eBay, and we ship stuff. But the time and energy it takes and the competition is so much greater that the profit margin, it drives your profit margin down so much.
Well, it's like a reputation management too, don't you think?
I guess I don't understand exactly how so.
So my angle for social marketing is reputation management and targeting the people that are, you know, really going to be loyal customers or buy my product. I do indirect marketing. I invest in the people. I get to know the people. Sorry. And I have dogs.
Okay. So how long have you had your business, Derek?
Well, I did do online for since I was about 17, and now I'm 24, so I've had this one 2 years, the actual brick and mortar. I was just doing it out of a warehouse, out of a storage thing, until I decided
So you started on the internet.
I started on Craigslist, so it was internet, but it was local still.
But that's
okay.
In a way, it's still online,
right?
It's still online.
It's just not Facebook.
It's not Facebook, eBay, Amazon. Nationwide outreaching to people you don't actually end up meeting in person and making the transaction in person.
Well, I just think that it's important to have some reputation management going on, you know, about whether people like or dislike your product, and then it could reach more people.
Sure, building your brand, and yeah, absolutely, I agree.
So it's a combination of being able to fulfill through the internet, but also being able to communicate through the internet, which is certainly not exclusive to a millennial business, but potentially more effective, maybe to reach a millennial. Do you think that the millennial market is more accepting of communicating via the internet than, say, some of the older generations?
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about transparency and accessibility.
So, Derek, let me ask you, because in my mind, a mattress store is a typical older generation sort of thing. So what brought you there? What got you into that business as a millennial? It's a different type of business.
Sure, people ask me that all the time. Well, my grandfather, he had a mattress factory, and my dad he ran the factory, then he had a store, then I grew up in the store, and then my dad's out of it, so now I opened my own store about 2 years after he closed. But I also do a lot of other liquidation. I'm moving out of the mattress and more into appliances like refrigerators, generators, bank safes, lawnmowers, any big equipment that can't be on Amazon and eBay. And that's a lot of what we do now is more the liquidation market.
Okay.
But yeah, that answers your question. How did I get into? And that's absolutely true. Like our main market is going to be 40 and up, as he usually spends the most and cares about a mattress. Absolutely.
Yep. Especially if you're moving to those, we'll call it heavy equipment. That's not a millennial purchase. A millennial, I don't see buying a bank safe or, things of that. Maybe I'm wrong.
So Derek, then let me
equipment behind that door.
Oh, okay.
So Derek, let me ask you then, the lifestyle you lead as a millennial, do you find it easy or difficult to market to the 40 and over generation?
A lot of people online are talking about being online, marketing online, and I find that doesn't really drive sales. And I get a lot of grief, especially here on Blab, about that I'm heartless because I only care about driving sales. But that's what keeps your company going, is people coming in and making the transactions. And so it's a little bit different to reach those people. And I don't think that the 40 and older generation is someone that doesn't use the internet. I think they might use the internet more than, because a lot of my friends now in their early 20s are saying that they don't like to use the internet as much as my grandma and mom do.
So what do you mean specifically, like use the internet? Are we talking about do Google searches, or are we talking about mobile apps media that keep you connected?
Social media, Twitter, Facebook, Foursquare, Google+.
So what about some of the newer ones, like Snapchat and Periscope and Instagram? Not that Instagram's new, but do you think that I think that attracts a different demographic?
I think you would just have to be able to sell something that could extend more than your local community to get on those platforms. Something you can ship or sell yourself, or ebooks or affiliate marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I think a lot of the products that you offer are sort of the ones you have to go, look at, touch and feel, and definitely, I would be less inclined to get a mattress online. I mean, I just recently got a new phone, and I wanted to go and look and feel and touch it, and not just upgrade through whatever was being offered online.
Have you heard of Tuft and Needle?
I'm sorry?
Have you heard of Tuft and Needle?
No.
They're a local company to Phoenix, where I'm located, and they literally just sell online. And what it is like they have these guarantees that it's going to be the best and returns and whatever. And it's almost like a different mindset of it's cheaper for us to give these guarantees or these warranties that it's going to be the best because they purchase, we sell. We don't have the overhead of having to have a place where they can touch and feel and experience. But it's like they have billboards. They have crazy marketing.
Well, there's a mattress company. I got the lawnmower going in the background.
That was my problem over here with the dog. Who was
there's the mattress company Casper, which sells strictly online. They send you a mattress in a box. And within New York City, they'll actually deliver it within 2 hours. So how does something like that, Derek, play into what you're selling? I mean, they are taking it. You can't go try it. Just like there's no showroom. There's no nothing. You order it online. The mattress shows up in a box. So how do you compete with that? Is that more millennial oriented than what you're doing?
I don't know. Maybe it is more millennial oriented.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point.
I'd love to find somebody who actually bought one because I'm fascinated by the idea of a mattress showing up to my door in a box.
Well, think about it. Don't you like getting mail now? It's like going backwards. You like getting mail.
I hate mail.
You like Amazon. Why do we shop on Amazon?
Oh, no, that's different. That's not mail. That's goodies.
Goodies.
It's a mattress goodie in a box.
It's a mattress goodie.
It's all about
mail is different. If it's got an Amazon box with the little smile, that makes your day. I mean, mail is usually garbage now. I mean, even, for us old folks here.
Speak for yourself.
All of my bills, are online. I don't get them mailed. I don't want the mail, and it just, not interested in it. But I have seen that cartoon about it going backwards to the, people getting happy about getting mail. I have seen that.
Not so thrilled about the mail, but certainly ordering online, getting what you've ordered. But Craig, to your point, the fact that they can deliver it in hours, you're getting that instant gratification, even though you've purchased it online. So they must have some sort of almost like the 1-800-Flowers or the FTD where you had those local people doing
they have delivery people.
The distribution.
It's only in New York City that they do it within hours. And they have pictures on their website of their bike messengers with the mattresses.
Well, we're also in a society, millennials are not that focused on instant gratification.
Okay.
And that's why, smiley face on a box or not, I want to be able to get, something instantly. I mean, when I got Prime, the first 2 things I bought were straws and socks because I could. Separate orders, separate days. They came the next day. One of them came the same day.
Really?
Yeah. And because we have a distribution center here, and it's crazy, and we're feeding into it, but it's kind of one of those things. It's like we can fight it or we can embrace it. I'm all about embracing because I am just tired of fighting.
How long have you truly been fighting?
Yeah.
Don't let me don't even think about this. I'm really 90 and stuck in a 28-year-old's body.
Good for you. you wear it
Benjamin
well.
Button.
What was that, Derek?
A Benjamin Button. He aged backwards.
Yeah.
Totally. I've lived 13 lives.
I see.
So I have a question. You mentioned Amazon Prime, and what I heard you say, I thought was you're not into instant gratification, but yet you love the idea of the Prime and getting the stuff quickly.
No, I am. We are about instant gratification.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So, are you the market for Amazon Prime versus, I've got Prime. I love Amazon Prime. My kids think it's the greatest thing if they order a Lego and I have kids. Yes, I'm old, okay? The Lego shows up in 2 days and they think it's the greatest thing ever. So
everything on demand. I mean,
yeah,
that's what life is all about.
Yeah. So we have a comment on the side, Broker Cam Empire, and one of the things he's saying is, now we sort of take the internet for granted. It used to be, I remember, so I'll age myself. I remember when it was dial up and all that, and my son was begging for cable, right? And now we don't think twice. I mean, we walk around with it in our hand. So it really is just almost like a billboard, right? You expect to see one on the street. I've got the internet in my hand, and it's just something I know is going to be there. So interesting point. He also has a good local mattress he bought too.
Well, I remember, when we got cable also, I remember my father's first cell phone.
Right.
It was like thousands of dollars and it made calls.
Right.
And
it was actually a phone.
Yeah, it was a phone. But the thing was, you couldn't call it unless he was like in the same area code. Yeah, if he went to a certain area, it didn't work. So, and I remember my cable box used to be attached to the TV. There was a wire between them.
Yeah.
So, things have changed. We don't, my kids will have no concept about life without these things.
Right. And I think that's what also makes the millennial generation, unique compared to all past generations, is the acceleration of the advancement of technology just in your lifetime. That you've seen the evolution of technology that amazed us when it first came out, and you're just saying, well, of course it's going to get better, of course it's going to get smaller. And when you move in sort of taken for granted, then it doesn't have the same effect from an amazing standpoint, but it also doesn't have the same effect from a why should I bother standpoint. If it's of course I have a mobile phone. Of course it's full of apps. Of course I can stay in touch with my friends at a moment's notice. That's just life. And if the employer environment doesn't allow for that, then you have one of my least favorite words, work-life balance, because I don't think work should be different than life. But when you have a culture in a business that really is different than the life you're leading, then you have work and life, and if they don't jive, it's not going to be good for the employee or the employer.
I completely.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I agree. I think if you have to talk work-life balance, you hate your work and you need to be doing something else. Yeah.
There have been studies, at least in my hotels, that we've studied that millennials actually need to have that balance. They really do need to be able to step away.
In order to what? To be a loyal employee or a productive employee, or
in order to not change their situation, change their employment situation, they need to be able to have their free time.
Oh, I'm not saying don't have the free time. I absolutely not. As entrepreneurs, the three of us and anybody else watching, we work a lot more than somebody who's an employee. But we also get the benefit of being able to step away and say, you know what, I want to go to the beach today because I know I can. So to me, that's not the same. I'm sorry?
We just work from the beach.
Well, yeah, there's that. But that's not the same in my mind as trying to attain that work-life balance.
But if she's saying that there's no negotiation there, that could definitely feel that could feel like entitlement to an older generation. Well, I didn't do that. I had to work, like you said, I had to work 30 years. Of course I'm loyal. Well, then you need to cater to the lifestyle in order to achieve that loyalty.
Well, why do you think Google has so many like gadgets and stuff? And have you been to a Google location?
Office? Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that.
It's awesome.
Yeah, their lattes could have actually been better. I was a little shocked. And I did take apart their employee buffet because that's how I am. Well, no, but they're like, we have like award-winning chefs and baristas. And I'm like, really? Are they Google awards, or are they like awards that we all know of? Like, what is this? But I'm a restaurant critic. That's what I think.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I don't know. They had a nice cereal bar at the one I was at. I mean, it was a great selection. I'm simple.
And that's the problem. Millennials are not.
Ah.
They're a little more but are they more complicated, or are they just more community oriented?
We're missing.
I don't know if do you really think they're not simple?
Yeah, I mean we're okay. We're simple if you understand our how neurotic we are.
Okay.
I'm really not building us up to be very good people, but
no, not at all. Not at all.
Why would you be at a younger age? Why would there be a need to be neurotic?
Well, I mean, meaning like, okay, if you understand me and you give in to the fact that I have to go to this concert and that I need the time off to do it, and that sometimes I don't want to answer my phone, and this is really not me because I work all the time and I'm self-employed, but I'm saying me as an employee, like allowing me to have time to play foosball, like at Google. I mean, like we just, we're not neurotic. We're just, we're just different. We just misunderstood. Really, there's this clash between the generations, and it's like, unfortunately, we're not willing to budge on how we are. So that's why we keep clashing. Because there's not a lot of compromise. It's more like, I wish the older generation would understand the younger generation.
Well, I see that a little bit. I do have two kids. They're 14 and 12. And my 14-year-old has a couple friends that are far away. They are people he met on Instagram in a community he's involved with Lego. And my parents, who are in their 70s, so we're talking about major generational gap, are convinced that they're not real friends because they can't see, they don't meet them in a room face-to-face. They meet this way face-to-face on the computer. So you do have that sort of stubbornness from us old people, not Ellen, just me. But do you think both sides have to give a little bit?
I mean, of course I do, but again, I'm like stuck in between. And that's sort of what makes me a good leader. But at the same time, I believe in the power of this. And obviously you guys do too, because you're on it. I'll give you an example. I was deathly ill, and I had to have like a particular surgery, and I actually had a registry at Sur La Table, naturally. I created a registry. And which sounds really weird, but I'm just giving you half of the story. So all of my food blogger friend community went in and purchased things off my registry to make me feel better.
Broker Cam, I think we're getting a little bit of your feedback.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so you had good support.
That?
Is one of the things you're saying, right?
So yeah, most people think they're friends, but they really were my friends. And when I took a tour to the East Coast, because that's where a lot of them are, I actually did a pit stop for like 3 hours just to go see them. And it was like we had been friends forever because I talked to these people, more than I talked to my family that lived down the street. So
that's a very interesting point, that this generation will have friends that they may have never met.
Right.
in person, you know,
Right.
and in the same room, but that doesn't negate the level of relationship that can be built. Yeah.
I mean, my son's connection with two of his friends, they're planning, one of them is planning to be, we're in Florida, to be here, at some point on a vacation, and they're actually planning their vacation so they can be at least local to us so the kids can meet, because, it just deepens the relationship, really.
And I think it actually breeds better.
All three of my kids did that.
Right.
Yep. I had my son, one of his first girlfriends he met online, and we went and met with her and her family. And both my daughters, one of their friends came up from Florida. She had just turned 16, and her mother put her on a plane and sent her up to New York to meet, she spent the week in my house, which I don't know that I would have done with my own 16-year-old.
No.
And the other one had her friend come from Arizona with her father. And these were all people, that they met online and developed these relationships. Yep. But in one way, I know a little off topic, I think sometimes the online relationship, especially with teenagers, can be more valuable because they're liked for who they are versus their status or things that are going on in their school. And so they may be liked for reasons, that are, political, so to speak. Right? You're the cool one, so I want to like you. You're the jock, so I want to like you. Where online you are who you are, and the people who like you and the people who connect with you are more legitimate.
Well, and it's better with this video because it's like, a lot of people hide behind the computer and be someone that they're not, and it allows them to kind of do that. But at the same time, if you have this face-to-face interaction, I think it actually allows us to be more cultured, or allows the kids to be more cultured, to learn more about other parts of the world that
completely agree.
They can't, that it's like, it's almost like applying what they might have learned in school or with their parents, because, now we're engaging in conversation, and like sometimes there might be a language barrier, and now we have to accept whoever is on the other, in another cell over here, who might be from Australia or might be from the Middle East or something, and have different, they're just different culturally, but they have this thing in common where they love to blab. So I've been, and like, I haven't really gotten into Meerkat and Periscope, but like Blab, to me, I've met some incredible people on this thing. And I'm like, now I listen to it in the background until somebody says, cue the band, will you please chime in? And then, I'll chime in, but
that's interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
So we're back better? To the community. I don't think we have the feedback anymore. Great. Thanks for making that change. Lab, very cool from although it's live streaming, it's community oriented versus Periscope, which it's a text sort of community during the individual Periscope. But back to your point about long distance, when on 9/11, my son was really upset about the scenario here in New York. And when he got home from school, he went online and he was playing some game, I'm not sure which one. And so there was a chat in the game, and he was, speaking sort of depressed. And one of the other people there was saying, what's your problem? What's your problem? And he didn't really get into it. So the next day, the New York City kids were off from school. And so my son went back on earlier than usual, ran into the same person. They were in Australia and hadn't seen the news. So the next day when they saw the news, they were very comforting to him. So he got his best sort of support from people on the other side of the planet. Mm-hmm. So that's really interesting.
Surgery. My friends over here wouldn't even come visit, but the ones over there were like checking in all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were a fellow that lived in London when the last tornado went through Moore, and he was seeing it over there, and we were in a chat app talking. I mean, my wife and I spent 3 years in a gaming community.
Yeah.
So
I
know. Yeah, this is amazing. Yeah, we didn't have this.
No. Yeah. But yeah, it really is. And so now we're talking about the connectivity of the millennials and, you know, the lifestyle they're living, and some of these tools that they're jumping on board. You know, as you said, you know, gee, this is sort of bringing us back to things we used to do in a different format. Mm-hmm. So we're a little bit of the old hat at this kind of stuff, even though it's brand new technology. Really interesting.
Very.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we're just about at an hour here, which was our plan, which doesn't necessarily mean we have to wrap things up, but happy to you know, open the conversation to, you know, Broker Cam, you just arrived, so you know, your thoughts on millennial. Are you an entrepreneur? Are you an employer? Do you work with millennials?
Yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I've taken on a sole proprietor, a contractor, basically. And I'm worried myself about when I have to start hiring them. You know, I don't know that my small town Oklahoma and Marine Corps background will mesh real well with a whole lot of why and all and come on. You know.
Well, you hit the nail on the head with the why.
Yes,
we've all learned
as
that.
we've learned.
We're definitely going to want to know why.
Yes.
That is non-negotiable, by the way. But you will be surprised that a lot of us, if we know why, we have a lot of self-discipline. We can be disciplined. We can be hardworking. We just have to be invested. So you have to care.
So how does
when it helps them care, and that's, you know, mm-hmm. if you go to the military and you know, thank you for your service. I was not in the military, but that's somebody who's all in. So it sounds like if, you know, just communicating the right way can get a millennial all in, as long as they feel they're part of the team. And I suspect that's similar to some of the things that you believe as well.
So at 39, I'm 39, and I feel like all my life I've felt like I call it the cartilage generation. I mean, we're just the difference between my kids, who my daughter is 17, and my parents is so far apart, you know, a lot further than me and my parents were.
Oh, yes.
You know, and so it's just, I mean, my kids, the way they were talking about race and gay marriage without even having the talk with us, it was just like, okay, they're kids of the future. You know, here they are. They don't care. You know. But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting. They're a lot different than the old people are still clinging to, you know, the older people are still clinging, and they got a tight grip on it. Mm-hmm. They don't want to change.
Yeah, they're clinging to a world that doesn't exist anymore.
Well, everybody should read the my Bible is the book called Switch. Have you read it? Everybody needs to read it. No. Amazon probably thinks that I'm crazy, keep losing my copy. But it's Switch, How to Change When Change is Hard by Chip Heath.
Oh, yes. I knew I'd heard of it. I haven't read it, though. I actually think it's in my Kindle library.
You have to read it, like, right now. It's literally...
Yeah, I gotta go read this.
Yeah, it's and by the way, I go by Q, normally not Monique, but obviously by my nickname, but it's Q approved. And what it is depending on where you are at, what position you're in. It's either a self-help book on how to change when it's difficult, you know, you're trying to change something from within, or get feedback now. Is that you, Craig?
I don't think so. I don't know.
So, or it shapes the path
for
you to try and convince someone else to change their mind about something, to sell a product to them, or to, you know, use this brand versus that brand. It's just an amazing book. I mean, or just gets you into the mindset that things change, when I know that the older generation has a difficult time with that.
I purchased it on October 23rd, 2010. I just checked, and I still haven't read it.
I don't even need to say anything. I don't even need to say anything. You just need to build a bridge and get over that and do it.
Yeah, that's up next now.
Yeah, it's the problem of how easy it is to get a book on your Kindle and just get the next one the next day without reading, instead of having a physical book there and going, oh, I got to finish that one first.
Oh no,
I can ignore a book sitting there without any trouble.
Without any trouble.
It doesn't matter if it's Kindle or a book.
Honestly, I have shelves full. I've read a lot of them, but you buy them and oh, this is great, and then oh wait, but this one's great too, and
yeah, I got a bad habit.
Nothing on the shelf. Yeah,
there's several books that I haven't read the last quarter of an inch because I kind of understood where we were going, and I got the message.
But then it's finished.
What if
it's not keeping you engaged?
What if the ending is not what you expected? Then you'll never know.
Oh, I don't read books that good.
Q, you have to start selecting his books for him.
Yeah.
I have a confession that I only have read a select few. But I have magazine subscriptions that I never read. I'm part of all these associations and food and nutrition journals I never read. The problem is that I'm so overstimulated with all of this that even when I get in my car to drive, it's not stimulating enough. It's changed my life. I need a driver because I can fall asleep driving.
Okay, and you're in what state again? I just want to know where to stay out of.
Wherever you're living, that's where I live.
There you go.
Well, I'm in Florida. You'd fit right into the drivers here, so don't worry about it.
So bring that topic back to the generation of millennial. Is it more difficult to keep your attention and keep you engaged?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yes and no. That's why things have to change. And not change completely to 360, but they have to seem new and shiny.
New and shiny.
So is it a generation of people with ADD? New shiny. Is that the problem or the issue?
Well, on a more positive note, because of the way that we are, I should probably throw in something positive about millennials. Because of the way that we are, we want to influence change. I'm all about influencing change and progress. So the reason why it has to be new and we have to feel like we're moving forward, and that we have a place in that we impacted that moving forward, that progress. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So not just new, but let's do something new-ish.
New-ish. Because I don't want to say new where you think we have to have a new project for this. We have to give, say you hire someone and this is their job. It's not like you have to give them a new job description every single time. You just have to make it seem a little bit more exciting. You have to gradually give them a little bit more permission or leeway or power that makes them feel more invested in what they're doing.
I would agree with that. I'm somewhat like that. I mean,
it's human nature, really. I mean, we don't want to be stagnant.
Right, but I could picture some of the older generation just doing it the way Dad did.
Yeah, and I think that's not gonna fly.
No.
The way it used to be done doesn't mean it's the way it should be done. And I think with new approach, especially with the generation that's bringing new ideas and a new lifestyle, I think that the value of cross generations in the same room, in the same business, in the same brainstorming session is a very powerful thing. And that lends to compromise, that lends to community, and I think it lends to the why me, right? Because we're going to involve you and we're going to see if we can do things better because we do them differently.
Hit the mute button.
I think I agree.
So I think at 2:15. So we've been here an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap this up, and I appreciate your canter. Fascinating, really great stuff to everyone who's willing to contribute. We, Craig and I, together make B2B RandD, and you can visit us at Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, and at our website b2brand.com. And we will definitely put another one of these together soon, and hope you join us. And we'll be in touch to get more information from you, Q, on the Millennials, certainly in the future.
Please feel free to reach out. This was all off the cuff, mind you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So apparently I have some useful information here and there, but I would love
you
to
had something to say. You represented your generation well.
Very well.
A lot better than the one I was talking to yesterday, my nephew. Yeah.
Have a crack at it. Maybe it's like a new business where I just have to, tweak these millennials so that they can adapt a little bit better.
Yeah.
You can be the millennial translator.
That's another job I don't.
That's.
But that's a good idea. I'll put it in the book. I'll just write it down.
There you go. Awesome. Perfect.
It's a new time. I gotta go read Switch now.
Yes, please get back to me, tweet me, whatever, connect, LinkedIn. Monique Hoffman is my full name if you want to connect, and let me know what you think of it. I'm really interested. I really should probably write to them and let them know that I'm selling their books like crazy.
Get that Amazon affiliate account for sure.
I'm still waiting on my Periscope and Blab check. I've been telling everybody about it.
You're so
good stuff. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.